Hey guys, it's Spencer. Today I put on Facebook a post about credit card strategy, right? So if you read that post, you would know that this past year I made 11 grand just in credit cards. Okay. So we are like, wait a minute, you made 11 grand? It's like, yes, I made 11 grand. Okay. Right now, the national debt when it comes to just like credit cards, interest and whatnot is just insane across America, right? And so, I used to be 145K in debt. I know what it's like to have a lot of credit card debt, and I remember thinking over time, man, what if there's a way to make a lot of money off of credit cards, right? And so this year, I accepted that personal challenge, right? 2023, and by then I made um, 11K, right? So here's some things real quick, I want to start off with, right? Do I think credit cards are bad? No, right? I've been through Dave Ramsey's program. I did the Financial Peace University, right? The 9-week video. And for a while, I cut my credit cards and I got rid of them. Now I have 20, right? So what's clear is this my mindset has changed over time, but also my discipline about how to go about credit cards has changed over time as well. Okay. So this video is for somebody who has discipline, right? If you've never had a credit card before, which one, if you in today's world, right? One of the amazing things that we have as Americans is this: you have financing options. Okay, other countries, right? If you want to buy something with credit, that it doesn't actually exist in some countries, right? So in America, you can finance something just because you have a credit score, right? So if you don't have a credit card, I what I want to tell you is what to do, right? For you is come up to agree with yourself. Are you disciplined and being able to manage or not? Okay. If you have discipline, then this video is for you, right? And if you don't, then this video is also for you to aspire to develop discipline so that you can do what I'm about to show you. Okay. So real quick, right? Spencer, did you spend more money in order to get credit card points and cash back? No, I did not. Okay, so here's some things I want you to consider, right? Is if you don't have a monthly budget, that I will recommend have a monthly budget. Okay, now underneath your monthly budget, right, you have things that you spend that you know are they're not going to change every month. Okay, so let me explain, right? Let's say you make 60K a year. So right here, what we're going to do is income and expenses. Okay, right now you make if you make 60K a year, right? Then let's go ahead and do some quick math. You're making 5K a month. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch this out. We're going to put down 5K, right, per month. Okay, that's your income. Now, expenses, right? So, what are some expenses that we have that you're able to put on a credit card, right? And again, we want to put things on there that we know are not going to change, right? Because one of the biggest issues with credit cards is this: we think we have more money to spend, when in reality, you're just pushing it off for 30 days and promising the lender that you're going to pay it off or you're going to pay it off over time, right? So, this is what we want to do. We want to use expenses that don't change every month, okay? Right? If they are variable, right, then let's ask the question: are they variable because of your instinct to want more, or is it variable because it just is variable, right? So, for example, right, what are some things that are fixed every month, right? Your phone bill, okay. What else? Um, your mortgage you can't put on a credit card. I haven't seen it. Rent I haven't seen it on a credit card. Usually, if you do, there's a fee tied to it. So I wouldn't recommend putting things on a credit card if there's a fee tied to it. Right now, if you believe in charitable donations, right, that's something you could do. Right. Okay. And these things are fixed, right? A phone bill is usually, let's just go ahead and say $100, right? Charitable donation, right? If you're a Christian, you'd like to do 10%. Okay. For this example, I'm going to use this guy. Let's say he's Christian. He believes in the tithe, right? And I don't want to get into the theology behind should you do a tithe or do what Jesus says, which is give as much as you can, like the widow that gave all she can in the New Testament, right? In this case, let's just go at 500. Okay. And now let's talk about variable expenses, right? But we want to pick things that you're not going to spend more or less because of the psychology behind it. So, for example, right, do people drive more because they're like, oh, I have a credit card? No, they don't. You know what I mean? Typically, you're going to drive because you have a mission, you have a goal, you have somewhere you're supposed to be, right? So, let's go ahead and put gas, okay? I know for me, I spend about 200, my wife and I spend about $250 a month in gas. Okay. Oh, here's another thing too, right? Do you have subscriptions? Right. So if you have, subscriptions, um, right, or memberships, okay, so like the gym, right? Now you guys can see how this stuff adds up over time, right? So here we have is $100 for phone bill, $500 for charitable donation, gas, subscriptions, right? I had a client just the other day; they spent 150 and then an extra 130 for cable. That's absurd, right? You know, let's just go ahead and say $50, okay? And then my wife does a gym membership, right? That's about $45 a month. But for the case of easy math, we're gonna go say 50, right? And so you guys kind of get the understanding, right? We can keep going with this, right? For some people, right, the fixed expenses and the variable expenses, the things that change every month, right? Where there's no psychology behind wanting to spend more, right? That's what I would recommend. And if you're like, well, you know what, I want to put it all in there, okay? Then that's where you can just go ahead and start adding all your other things, right? Another thing I would consider is this: is if you know you're going to have a major purchase in the future, something you can put on a credit card, i.e., you know that you have an issue with your car, right? And you're going to take it to the shop in 2 weeks. Well, here's the thing: that might be a great opportunity to go ahead and open up a credit card, because here's how credit cards work: is they they offer a, if you pay this much money or spend this much money in this amount of time, you get the intro bonus, right? And so for me, that's what I did, right? Every time, um, you know, I had a credit card that I liked, okay, or I had a major expense, right? I would purposely go out and get a credit card that I was like, okay, I got this major expense coming up, or Christmas is coming up, right? I know I'm going to spend probably $500. This credit card says 500 within a month or 3 months. Usually it's not within a month. Usually it's at least 2 or 3, right? Spend 500, you get $200, okay? So now let's do some math, right? Collectively, right? Let's just say that these are the things that you're like, hey, this is the stuff that's fixed every month that like you're not going to think about, right? This is a lazy way about going about the strategy. So 100 plus 5 is 6, plus 255 is 855 or 850, and then another 100 for these two, so that brings you to 950. And let's just go ahead and put another thing in here, like what's another expense, right? Okay, utilities, right? You're not going to go ahead and flush the toilet more and use more electricity because you have a credit card, right? But I know for this example, right, let's just go ahead and say your utilities are 150, okay? So now we have, in terms of monthly expenses, right, um, quick quick math, 850, 950, this is 1100 of expenses per month, okay? So now this is where you get into the art, right? So we have science down, which is, okay, this is how much I could put towards my credit card strategy, right? And so here's some things I want you to consider: is what is the most bang for our buck with the $1,100 that we have here, right? So this is going to be awesome, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you off to the right side what you could do with this money, right? So let's say month one, you put 1,100 towards a credit card, right? And let's say that first credit card is, hey, for credit card number one, so CC number one, right? You get $200 in you get $200 for $500 of expenses, right? If that's the case, then now our planning factor is this, right? If I have one credit card that I can get $200 for, right, just for spending $500, okay, then what if we just did two, right? So then, okay, so in month one, right, let's just go M1 for month one, right? You decide, hey, because of my spending power a month, right, where I'm not going to change my spending habits, right, is 1100. Go ahead and get 2 credit cards a month. Okay, you have effectively reappropriated your funds so that you're gonna and all you and how long do you think it takes to apply for 2 credit cards? Go into your bank, sync your external account, and put it on auto pay. How much time do you think that's going to take? I'll tell you, right? When you add in research and whatnot, you're looking at about, let's just go ahead and say an hour per credit card, right? For 2 hours of your time, you're going to make $200. That's a pretty good return on investment, right? So, so that's just 1 month, okay? Now, right? You've already spent the $500 per credit card, right? Now, let's say in month 2, guess what? You're like, hey, let's go ahead and open up 2 more credit cards, right? But this time you can do this. If you're married, right? So oftentimes a lot of these credit cards have referral points, right? If you refer somebody, okay? So me being married, so a lot of the credit cards I have, I just referred my wife, okay? And then she would go in and just open up the bank account or the credit card account, right? So let me show you this, right? I'm still doing 2 credit cards, right? But then my wife opens up both of them. So now we're at CC number 3 and CC number 4, okay? Same exact credit card, just under a different person, right? So in this case, we're gonna get $200 per credit card, and then plus whatever that referral code is, right? So, and let's just go ahead. I've seen credit cards with like Capital One, right? Quicksilver credit card. If you refer one person and they open up, you literally get 150 right on the spot, right? I've seen it happen, okay? But for our sake, right, let's go with something simple, right? $50 per referral, okay? Which is, I haven't seen. Most of them have already spent over $50, but for this example, will, right? So now you're looking at 200 plus 50 times 2, because all you did was spend $500, okay? You see how this starts to grow over time, right? And here's another thing too is we haven't adjusted for it, right? But every single one of these credit cards, what else comes with them, right? So I'm gonna grab a different marker, green for money, right? So here you have the money you make for those credit cards. Here's the money you make for those credit cards, right? And every single time you put money on those things, right? Guess what? Here are the added benefits. Okay. Typically they do, 1 to 1.5 to even 2%. Some credit cards will upwards of 5% return in the form of points or cashback, right? So over time, let me go ahead and move this a little bit. Over time, right, those cashback adds up, right? And so let's just go ahead and say 1 to 5%, cashback / points. Okay. What's another one too? Like Amex is amazing for this, right? With Amex, you can get, here's extra money to spend at whatever places, right? Like Uber, you get every month that they're free, right? Or hey, subscriptions, right? You can now pay for some of your subscriptions because you have Amex, right? On the platinum card or whatever, right? So that stuff adds up over time, right? So if let's just do the math, right? Let's just say, we're spending $1,100, right, a month, right? You're getting $200 per credit card, plus the 1 to 5% back, plus the benefits tied to the card, right? So, and then this process repeats over time, right? So now you can see how, if I just keep opening up credit cards, right, referring my friends and family, referring my wife, not going over my means, not changing my means, just reappropriating the funds so that, okay, the $1,100 that are meant for phone bill, charitable donation, gas, subscriptions, membership, utilities, yada, yada, yada. You just keep adding to the list over time. Oh, I have another major expense. I want to go to Hawaii. Great, perfect time to open up a credit card, right? What airline are you going to use? Guess what? There's an airline credit card you could use, right? What hotel are you going to stay at? Great, guess what? There's a hotel credit card most likely for that, okay? So start thinking about your travel and your future ambitions and thinking about ways that, like, wow, is there a benefit or opportunity out there where I can exploit it, make more money, right? And here's the thing, right? The one thing is, why do I do this? Why am I taking the time to show this to you, right? Because quite honestly, my mission in life is this: if I can get you more money, right? Money is going to amplify who you are right now. Okay. Now my goal is this: is not to just make you more money, right? My goal is to teach you about how to think about money so that you can be a better version of yourself. Okay. Like a lot of my clients, I'm always telling them, hey, look, do you plan to be a parent or spouse one day, right? Or a spouse then parent? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Do you plan to be a community leader of some sort, right? Do you think your kids are going to have kids one day? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you think your money is just for you? Now you see where I'm going, right? We should never love money, but money affects everything we love. Okay, so you know, going back to the example, right? Pretty straightforward, right? But the biggest thing, the biggest thing is this, right? Do not go above your means and have a system. Okay, put a system together so that you do not have to think. Because I'll tell you, decision fatigue is a real thing, right? You and I have the same amount of time in a day. You and I wake up, and just by happenstance, right? You're making a decision first thing in the morning. Do you want to use the restroom first, or do you want to go ahead and brush your teeth? Right? Those things add up over the day. Okay, and the less decision making you can make, the better, right? And so all of this, right, when I open up 20 credit cards and I reappropriate the funds, right, I have to remind myself, hey, this is a little tedious, but my return on investment for setting up two credit cards is going to be what, $400 for the 2 hours I put in, plus all of this that I don't know how much it's going to end up being, right? So, think about it that way, right? If you have more questions, go ahead, hit me up. Most of you know me, but you can hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll answer your questions the best I can.